Alright, so someone asked me to make pelmoni, well, pierogi, but I'm making pelmoni because I don't know any pierogi recipes. So, I made a simple dough and I've already flattened it out quite a bit. Just follow the instructions for my last bread making recipe and add 1 egg and knead it together for about 10 minutes so you have a somewhat elastic dough. It's a really simple dough and you don't need any measurements at all. Trust me. This is one of those things where a little bit of practice is worth about a ton of explanation. And in all honesty, if you don't want to do it by hand, just get a dough mixer or a food processor with a mixing bowl attachment. Those are slightly expensive, but I do hope to get one day. Roll out your dough to about 1/4 centimetre thickness. Mine needs a bit more work. Keep it floured in the meantime. Always remember to flour both your workplace and your dough itself so nothing sticks to it. Go, that should almost be done. Yeah, looks like it. It's going to contract a little bit. We're going to be working from the centre. So you're going to have a lovely little dough, which I'm going to just gently peel off because I'm going to have to use it in a minute. See about the size of a pizza for the amount I made. Now you can also hand stretch it a bit by moving it around, and because you made sure to stretch it for at least 10 minutes, the gluten should have developed to a point where this won't rip and tear. It's not Doom Guy, mind you. Yes, I do play video games, although not Doom in particular. Oh, you just move it around if you want to. This way you can actually stretch your dough without using a rolling pin, although it's a bit more of a hassle and not quite as, well, predictable, I suppose. Yeah, that's the word. Anyway, once you're done stretching your dough, just make sure you can pick it up easily because you're going to make it quick filling. Now, for my filling, I added about 100 grams of my tofu chicken ground meat. It's both chicken and tofu, it's a ground. It's really easy. But I don't have a recipe for that because I just made it from leftovers. And to that I added about 50 grams of dehydrated mushrooms, and it will do, at least for my recipe right now. I make sure to hydrate those for 10 minutes, scoop them out of the water and save the liquid. This is going to be very important while we're boiling them. I'm going to add about 100 grams of cream cheese. Oh, hold on. And of course, instead of not making a mess, I am definitely making a mess. Right, there's some liquid in it, and I'm going to save it to just give it a bit more, creaminess at the end. I'm going to bind it all together, that is. Can't use that spoon. It's about 100 grams, which should even out to about, what will it be? A third of your mixture ought to be cream cheese. There we go. Because you don't want it to be too much and, well, have a pure cheese mixture. At least in my opinion, it's fine if you do want that. I mean, it's going to be tasty if you like it. You don't want it to be too moist because you want to be able to scoop it up and use it as a filling. Now, if you can, taste for seasoning. It's raw chicken, I know, don't hassle me. It's hardly anything. It's nice, but it could use a bit more my ginger spice mix. Because I'm going for a kind of Asian inspired flavour as always. I do enjoy fusion cooking after all. So our kettle's come to a boil, so I'll just quickly add the mushroom liquid to the pot. Now, back to the dough. You just want to get a glass or a cup, but a glass tends to work a bit better. I have this wine glass over here, and I'm just going to make sure, because my dough has contracted a bit. So, do keep in mind I'm not a native English speaker, and despite having failed to become an English teacher, that's what accent's from, I do on occasion make mistakes. Grammar, vocab, or pronunciation, really. And again, who doesn't? Peel it off, don't rip it, don't tear, thank you. Go. You can still grill this, by the way, and use it as a flatbread if you want to, but that would be a bit of a waste considering what we're going to try and do now. So, get a glass, put some pressure on it, don't move your dough around too much, peel it away from the edges if you can, and just punch out circles. Go. I'm just going to put those aside. They're a bit thick actually, so I guess I'll roll them out a bit. But that's fine. And we should be able to make about, I have no idea how many. Plenty for one person, probably for 2 evenings. So I'll get back to you once I'm done. See, little dough circles, so lovely. Okay, so here's a quick comparison shot. So you can see, this one I rolled out, this one I haven't yet. Now, this one's slightly bigger and slightly thinner. See, this one disappears, this one doesn't. Still see the one behind it, which is good. Now, I'm going to repeat the step quickly, and when I'm done, I'll get back to you to the filling. Okay, so we're going to get back to the filling part. You're going to take it in the palm of your hand, and you're going to take just enough of your filling to cover the middle. So that's, for my size, going to be about the size of a teaspoon's worth. Let's see if I can get a proper shot of this. Doesn't look like much yet, granted. So I'm just going to get a bit of cornstarch on one side and a bit of water. Just make a little bit of glue, so to speak. I'm just going to fold it over into a half moon semicircle-ish shape, and we're just going to close it up. Just rotate it gently and pinch along the edge. And if you overstuff it, you'll notice, because it'll pour out, which in my case happened ever so slightly, but that's not really an issue. And now, if you want to, you can make these look really nice. Twist them together a bit, pinch them near the end, and you'll have these. Go on. Fine. And have something like this, which is going to look nice, but it's more of a traditional pasta shape, and pelmoni are really just the semi-circle, half circle. I forgot what that shape's called. Anyway, they're the half moon shaped things. So I'm going to get back to you once I'm done stuffing all of them. Here's another trick for you. With any leftover dough, if you can't be bothered to make more of those finicky little pelmoni, just because really you know you're not going to be eating these 3 days in a row or whatever, just get what you've got left dough-wise. Can't English. Just gather it all together. Make one big sheet of it. Same old trick as I just showed you. Just use a bit more filling. So use a good 1.5 spoonfuls. And turn it into a gigantic version of your pelmoni. Now, you can boil these, which is fine, and you can just slice them up. You can also make a couple big ones instead of making lots of little ones. Or, which is completely possible, let me just see if I can get this to look a bit decent, because it's going to be a bit bigger. There we go, also the trick. You can take this and shallow fry it. It's going to be delicious, trust me. Hit it with some coarse salt afterwards and you're not going to regret it. Also, these are freezer friendly, so remember that. You can always freeze them, spend 2 hours on your Sunday preparing these. Maybe make the dough the evening before, which only takes 10-15 minutes. Just let it rest overnight and, you know, do your magic. Now, let's get to boiling. Alright, so as you can see, you can make a lot of these out of very little. I still have more than half of my stuffing left. I've got 13 little ones in all kinds of shapes, and one very big one, which has maybe triple the amount of filling. So you can probably manage about 30 out of one serving, as long as you make enough dough. So, get your pot, make sure the water's boiling, turn it down slightly, and just drop them in. Always do that away from you. Doesn't matter if it's water or oil. Just make sure you don't burn yourself. Now, I'll get back to you once these are done. Okay, so these are about ready to come out of the water. Jesus. These are about ready to be pulled out of the water. And as I couldn't be bothered to make a separate sauce, I just combined a little bit of my almond butter with sriracha in the bowl, just being fancy. For this is a video, my kitchen tends to be a bit of a mess. And now, whatever gets dragged along pasta water wise should suffice to make a nice coating, so the lovely patty you're seeing that's going to disappear. And these take about, well, anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes to cook, depends on how big you make them. These have had about 8 minutes, which should be done if slightly under. Very slightly. So, of course, save your water. That has a lot of flavour. Always salt your water, even if it's got funky mushroom stuff in it. Just give it a toss, and it will all come together and start looking somewhat decent in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignore that, that's my pot breaking. And 0. Now, that looks like a mess, but one of those heartfelt, warm messes that, generally speaking, ought to be nice. So, of course, I'm a lefty, but it doesn't matter when it comes to this stuff. You should be able to just cut it open with a fork, not too much effort, and you'll have, let's see if I can get it into focus. God damn it. Here we Now that's the issue. Filming in selfie mode. Go on. There we go. That's one stuffed pelmoni. Do yourself a favour. Make them. The instructions might not be too clear, but trust me, this is a very intuitive recipe. Make the dough according to my instructions for making bread. Add an egg, work the dough a bit more, stretch it out, fill it, make sure it's closed, add a bit of water, flour or cornstarch along the edges to act as kind of glue. Boil them from up to well, 15 minutes, depends on the size. Or deep fry them, which you can also do. Also really nice, but I'm trying to watch my weight. And yes, these do look like pasta. Any kind of pasta really depends on the shape you make them. After all, not every kind of pasta is made equal or the same, but generally speaking, the concept's somewhat similar. So enjoy, and hopefully you have learned something new.